Hey everybody, Justin here. I appreciate you checking out this video. In this video, I wanted to talk about an idea that my wife and I have we call it Randoodle. And we're both mathematical statisticians, so we're always thinking of how can we use probability statistics to, come up with games, puzzles, things around the house like deciding between projects or deciding what dinner to go out to, all sorts of things like that. So I wanted to share Randoodle. And this is a book that we put together, and I'll put the links below and stuff to Amazon. You can check it out. But this is randomly created drawing prompts. Okay, so the idea is you start out with a list of adjective, nouns, adverbs, and verbs, and you can add other things too. We've experimented adding other things in there, other parts of speech, but those are the main ones I would say. And then you think about the structures you can put those in. So you could have like just a noun. You could have, a noun with a verb, like a dog walking or something like that. All sorts of things. And this is just a subsample of structures. I mean, we have many more, but this is just for the book. And then they get randomly created, randomly selected, and put together. And then you can make it a game. You can challenge your friends. You can see how quickly you can draw something. If you just like to do art or draw or paint or whatever, you can do it for that too. So let me show you how we go about doing that. So this is a spreadsheet that I put together, and this isn't entirely updated, but it's mostly updated. But here we just have a list of adjectives, a list of nouns, adverbs, and verbs. And I just count how many we have, about 240 adjectives, 250 nouns, 270 adverbs, and about 80 verbs. I have some things in there like a duplicate check. So for example, if blue is here, but then I put blue again here, I just have some logic that checks the one above it. If these are the same, put a 1 here. Conditional formatting makes it red. It tells me there's a duplicate, so I can just scroll quickly and see the ones that are in red. Those types of just little checking things. If you want to put another one in, like say for let's see, say we do another noun. Okay, so say we have another noun. Let me see if it's here first. Okay, lottery ticket's not there. So on my desk there's a lottery ticket, so I'm just going to type in lottery ticket. Lottery ticket. Fill that down. Okay, so it's as simple as that. Now over to the right, we have the different structures. So like I said, here are some possible structures. Again, these aren't the only ones we have, but these are kind of some ones that we're working with now. And so for example, verb and noun, this top row. Here I just select a verb from the verb list, and then I select a noun from the noun list, and this concatenate function will just put those together. It'll put any strings together. So a noun, and then I put a space in between and a verb. I wanted to talk a little bit about this index function because I use it on this. I use it in some poetry that I do. I use it in some other statistics things I do. I use it at my job. So it's a very useful way in Excel to take a quick sample from a column. So let me show you, just explain what that is. What it does is it looks up in column T for this one. It'll take an element from column T such that it corresponds to a random number between 1 and the count of how many things are in column T. So we already know that there's 82 verbs listed in column T, so it'll choose a random number between 1 and 82. So say it chooses 5. It'll go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it'll choose the verb celebrating for this index function. So that's how that index with the rand between works. It's very useful. There are other ways to sample that Could be better or worse depending on what you're trying to do, but this is a quick way to get a sample. So do that for all of these structures. And I have a couple more things I wanted to talk about. So right now there's about 49 billion possibilities of random drawing prompts you can get. Now, this doesn't mean they're all good. It just means that's how many are possible. So, for example, you can get ones that are too boring. Square is a little boring, I must admit. But not all nouns would be boring. But square, okay, that's pretty easy to draw, right? So, and you could also get some that are possibly adult-oriented or racist or too difficult. You could get that too, because it's just randomly arranging. Now, in these lists, we don't put anything risque like that. We don't put anything like that in there, but it's just a random combination. You never know kind of what you're going to get. But we aim to make this all family friendly. Of course, you could change the game considerably if you didn't. But like in our book, we curate these. So we generate these, but then we go through and say, okay, is this one inappropriate, or is this one too boring or too difficult? We want to have a good combination of, easy to difficult, and we don't want any of the adult or risque or racist, whatever type stuff that could, the inappropriate things that could be generated. And in fact, for our book, when I was going through curating it, there was nothing like that anyway. But there were some that were a little too boring or a little too difficult, and I took those out, replaced them with some new ones, right? So let me explain this. So this 20,910, that's how many possible ways you can create a verb and a noun combination. How does that happen? Well, you're choosing out of 82 verbs times 255 nouns. So it's just that product, okay? And so I do that for every one of these structures. Now for some it's just approximate, like this one has 2 adjectives. So what I should do is I just multiply it by E3 times E3 because it's unlikely to get the same adjective twice. And if we did, I would notice that when we're curating the list and just discard that one. So, but really this should be the second E3 should be E3 minus 1, right? Because you wouldn't want the same adjective twice. So in our updated spreadsheet, I might put that in there and not allow the same adjective to get selected twice. I could do that, but practically speaking, if you have a long list of verbs, it's very unlikely you'd get the same adjective twice. And if you do, and you're making a book, you just don't include that. So it's pretty simple. Now this weight column says if the weight's all 1, they're all going to get selected with the same probability. If the weights are different, they'll get selected accordingly. So for example, say the noun, the noun's too boring. I don't want to include any nouns. Only this structure I don't want to include. Just set it equal to 0. And what you'll find is it won't get selected at all. The probability of selecting it goes to 0. It can't happen. Likewise, say you like the adjective-noun combination. So you like, this realization, a blushing king, a smoggy kangaroo, the puzzled internet, frantic restaurant, okay? That would be a good one to draw. Say you really like that combination. You like the adjective-noun structure. You could set this to, I don't know, say 5 or something. And now it'll be selected with about almost a 24% probability versus about 5% probability for the other ones. So in the list down here, that adjective-noun combination will be selected more frequently. And you can see that if I change this 5 to like, I don't know, 100 or something, right? So now it's selected with 86% probability. and you can see a lot of adjective noun combinations fill that list. So that's how that weight column works. I usually just leave it on equal probability because that's, I don't know, makes more sense to me, but you can kind of customize it how you like. So now we get to the actual selection. So these are just selections of examples for these. And now what we want to do is select a random number here and get the actual selection according to these weights and so forth. So, well, how do we do that? So this column is just a random number between 0 and 1. So let me do, let me look at this one. Shuffling window. Okay. So what this, so the formula is pretty big because it's like a lot of if statements. So let me minimize just a little bit. Just do the top couple lines. So what this will do, this formula, this equation, whatever you want to call it, it'll look at the random number generated and it'll say, okay, let's go down this list of low and the high, and if it's greater than the high, or greater than the low, but less than the high, then choose, something from that structure. So for this structure, or this probability was 0.023. So that is between 0 and 0.05. So it's going to create a verb-noun structure. So that's the shuffling window. You see? Let's pick another one. 0.690. So we go in this list, this low and the high. 0.690 is here, falls in this bucket, and so it's going to be an adjective, noun, verb. So lazy birthday celebrating. So that's kind of how that works, that lookup. This if statement, it creates these low and the high based on the probability bounds, and then it just generates the random selections from according to that structure. So I just wanted to share this as a book we're putting out. Like I said, I'm going to leave the Amazon link below. Please check it out. Good for holidays. It's good if you like drawing, if you like art, word games. You could use any drawing for like a meditative drawing thing, but you could also make it like a competition with your friends, or a competition to see how fast you can draw something. Some of them are pretty funny. Some of them are extremely challenging. Like, how would you draw something like, we got reluctant knife running or something like that. How would I draw like a reluctant knife, So there's some things that are very challenging, but some are very easy. So it's a good combination. And yeah, that's it. So I hope you like the idea of the Randoodle. Please check it out. Let me know. And that's all I got. So thanks for checking this out, and I'll see you next video. Bye-bye.